Some people say you shouldn't eat before bed. But what if what you're eating is protein? In fact, having enough protein while you sleep can be beneficial in many ways. Fascinating recent research has found that consuming sufficient protein before bed can significantly contribute to muscle growth and boost metabolism. When you sleep, your body enters a fasting state, and without enough nutrients, muscle breakdown can outpace muscle synthesis. When this happens, you are in a catabolic state. Consuming protein before bed can counteract this by providing a steady supply of amino acids. In a study published in 2012, researchers found that participants who supplemented with 40 grams of protein before bed had a significantly higher muscle synthesis rate compared to the control group that didn't consume protein. Any protein source will work, whether it's whey protein powder, eggs, milk, or meat. Besides increasing muscle tissue synthesis, researchers also observed an increase in mitochondrial synthesis. The increase in mitochondrial synthesis plays a crucial role in enhancing physical endurance, especially in endurance sports, because more mitochondria mean more power plants in your body. These power plants are responsible for generating energy. Endurance sports like long-distance running, cycling, and swimming heavily rely on aerobic metabolism that occurs within the mitochondria, which means better endurance muscles can sustain prolonged exercise without tiring. Contrary to popular belief, eating protein before bed does not lead to weight gain. Protein has a higher thermic effect of food TEF. Digesting and metabolizing protein requires you to burn more calories, which increases your total energy expenditure TEF. Studies show that participants who consume protein before bed had an increased resting metabolic rate during sleep compared to the control group. Certain amino acids in protein contain tryptophan, which plays a role in the production of sleep-regulating neurotransmitters such as melatonin and serotonin. So, if you have trouble sleeping, it might be worth trying. After the age of 30, you lose about 3% to 5% of your muscle mass every decade. So, aging actually begins with muscle loss. Research indicates that elderly people who consume protein before bed can better maintain muscle mass and muscle strength. Therefore, we can certainly help our parents and grandparents by providing them with some support to slow down the aging process. If you're still struggling with what to eat and how much to eat during your fat loss journey, or if your weight has stalled midway and you're feeling lost, then it's time to introduce carb cycling, a strategy widely used by athletes, bodybuilders, and fitness influencers. So, what exactly is carb cycling? Let's take a look at the explanation provided by Healthline. Carb cycling is a dietary strategy where you alter your carbohydrate intake over a certain period to achieve fat loss while maintaining body function. You can use it to maintain metabolism, lose fat, or break through plateaus. Sometimes you'll have low-carb intake days, known as low-carb days, and sometimes you'll have high-carb intake days, known as high-carb days. How should you arrange low-carb and high-carb days? This is closely related to your training. On your rest days, it's undoubtedly a low-carb day. On your high-intensity training days, such as leg day, you should have a high-carb day. Building on the three-way split training I've previously discussed, here's a standard plan for you. 3 low-carb days on rest days, chest day, and back day, and 1 high-carb day on leg day, cycling through 3 low and 1 high. So, what are the benefits of this approach? During fat loss, you're typically in a caloric deficit for several months. Prolonged insufficient intake will eventually lead to a metabolic slowdown. When your metabolism slows to match your current intake, your fat loss stops, leading to a plateau. Muscle synthesis declines, muscle breakdown increases, and your fat loss speed gradually slows to 0. This is a frustrating stage, but don't lose heart. Your solution is here. In carb cycling, the presence of high-carb days can effectively reverse the trend of metabolic slowdown. You can think of each high-carb day as a reset, allowing you to restore and stay competitive. Despite setbacks, you can keep going strong because you mastered the reversal technique. Additionally, sufficient carbs provide better training conditions and athletic performance, and supply energy for muscle repair and growth. The prerequisite is that you must consume enough protein. Otherwise, it's like trying to cook without ingredients because muscle synthesis requires sufficient protein. The amino acids in protein, especially leucine, act as the switch for muscle synthesis. You can think of it as the energy drink in a game. Recently, Voice teamed up with Beijing Sports University for a human experiment, recruiting 22 male college students for an 8-week resistance training test. The results showed that FOS fast-growing protein powder with leucine had a significant impact on muscle size and strength. Therefore, even on low-carb days, you can still enjoy the fat loss benefits of a low-carb, High protein diet. On high carb days, your muscles get reinforced and grow, and your metabolic power increases. Although the effects are remarkable, this strategy is not for everyone and requires careful attention. So, what should you do? First, you need to precisely calculate your daily intake. You can refer to the template I provided earlier. You must strictly follow your carbohydrate intake at specific times. This is not an easy task. If you truly want to see results, this is the minimum threshold. I even believe that 90% of people don't need to go as far as using carb cycling. Typically, those who do this are preparing for a competition. Bodybuilders have a much greater need for muscle mass than ordinary people because it's their livelihood. For regular people, a balanced diet with a bit of planning and perhaps a cheat meal now and then works quite well. However, if you want to lose fat while maintaining or even building muscle, then you are the right candidate for carb cycling. Lower belly fat is a challenge for everyone and is often the last area to lose fat. Today, let's discuss some things that are easily overlooked or misunderstood due to common misconceptions. 1. Abdominal fat cells are larger and more densely packed. Fat cells in different parts of the body vary greatly. Some areas have smaller and looser fat cells that are easier to break down and burn. However, abdominal fat cells are larger and more densely packed, making them harder to tackle. 2. Where does your fat accumulate most easily? The distribution of fat and muscle shape is largely determined by genetics. For most people, genes predispose them to store fat around the belly, except for women with an hourglass figure. Top-tier physiques, like a perfect V-taper or well-defined abs, are also largely a gift from your parents. Some people may reduce body fat significantly and still maintain an H-shaped body. Exercise cannot change your genetic setup. 3. Wishing your belly wouldn't have folds when you sit down. Many people believe that if they have a great physique with six-pack abs, their stomach will always look flat, regardless of the position or amount of food consumed, whether their abs are tensed or relaxed. This is simply impossible. Skin is flexible and functional. It doesn't remain rigid. When you sit down, your abs relax, and your skin naturally forms folds. This is a universal law, not subject to human will. Whether you are a professional bodybuilder or very lean, achieving the perfect visual effect requires specific postures, lighting, and sometimes even dehydration. 4. Misjudging how long it takes to lose belly fat. When you start losing belly fat, it indicates that you've already lost fat from other areas. At this point, your metabolism will naturally slow down, so if you continue eating the same amounts as before, the results will diminish. Even if you strictly follow your diet plan, it may no longer be effective. It's time to recalculate your diet. 5. Poor posture makes you look worse. If you often slouch, causing your chest cavity to compress, your belly will appear larger. If you also have anterior pelvic tilt, not only does this contribute to back pain, but it also makes your belly look bigger. Exercises like hip thrusts and back extensions can help correct this issue, and reducing sitting time can also help. Even though it doesn't directly burn fat, looking better is still a win, right? 4 tips for skinny people to build muscle. Like and follow for more. Step 1. Eating. For skinny individuals looking to build muscle, you don't need a caloric deficit. You need to eat more than you normally do, but that doesn't mean eating recklessly. A 12-week study had 2 groups of people consume 3,600 calories and 3,000 calories daily, respectively. The results showed that both groups gained the same amount of muscle, but the group eating 3,600 calories gained 5 times more fat. So, there's no such thing as dirty bulking, only dirty fat gain. Research shows that a high carbohydrate intake can make you feel more energized and help you recover fast. Your body enters an anabolic state, which is a muscle building state. A diet with 60% carbohydrates results in higher free testosterone and lower cortisol levels compared to a diet with 30% carbohydrates. Cortisol is a stress hormone that encourages the body to store fat and break down muscle. If you don't consume enough carbs, your training intensity and volume will suffer. Adequate carbs ensure the quality of your workouts. Next is protein. It's recommended to consume 1.5 grams per kilogram of body weight, which is crucial. Protein is the building material for your muscles. How can you build a house without bricks, right? If your intake is greater or less than your total energy expenditure TD, calculated using a BMR calculator, you create a deficit or surplus. For skinny individuals, the intake should be about TD plus 500 calories. Step 2. Training. Don't stay in your comfort zone and fool yourself. If you want to build muscle, you must progressively overload, constantly increasing the weight. Strength and muscle mass are directly correlated. For example, the heavier the weight you bench press, the larger your muscle size will be. Step 3. Sleep. Muscles grow the fastest during sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, it not only has common negative effects but also slows down your muscle building progress and affects your training performance. Studies show that people who sleep 40 minutes less each day lose a much higher percentage of muscle mass, from 20% to 80%, when trying to lose weight. The participants in the study were allowed to catch up on sleep over the weekend, so don't think you can save yourself by staying up late. Abs are the ultimate goal for fitness enthusiasts, offering a boost in confidence, a sense of tension, and a significant improvement in athletic performance by maintaining core stability. Top athletes might not have the biggest chest muscles, but they can't be strong without well-developed abs, as the abs are a crucial part of the core. So, how do you achieve them? Step 1. Achieve a low body fat percentage. Without a sufficiently low body fat percentage, you'll never see your abs. Even if you have well-developed abdominal muscles, they might remain hidden under a thick layer of fat. So, reducing body fat is essential to making your abs visible. Step 2. Don't believe the myth that abs don't need training. If you want bigger, thicker, and more defined abs, you need to train them specifically, especially with weighted exercises. Like other muscles, abs require a combination of high repetition, low intensity workouts and low repetition, high intensity workouts. Studies show that fast twitch muscle fibers make up 55% to 58% of the abdominal muscles, while slow twitch fibers account for 39% to 42%. Fast twitch fibers are activated during heavy, high-intensity training, while slow twitch fibers come into play during low-intensity, high-volume training. Static exercises like planks don't significantly work the abs because your abs are primarily maintaining stability rather than contracting. Dynamic exercises that involve movement and follow a specific range of motion are much more effective for building abs. Research shows that muscles expend twice as much energy during the eccentric lengthening phase of an exercise compared to static holds, meaning dynamic training places a greater load on the muscles, stimulating maximum growth. If your goal is aesthetic appeal, focus on the rectus abdominis, the six-pack or sometimes eight-pack muscles. 2 types of exercises are sufficient. Crunch-type exercises. These primarily target the upper abs. Examples include sit-ups, crunches, cable crunches, and decline crunches. Leg raise exercises. These mainly target the lower abs. Examples include hanging leg raises, supported leg raises, and lying leg raises. However, if you don't lose the fat, no matter how well you train your abs, they won't be visible. So, fat loss is the ultimate key to revealing your abs.